Happy March, ladies and gentlemen. We have a February trading recap on our hands. It has been, I feel like, a little while since I've done a trade recap. So I'm going to drop this, and then I'm probably going to do individual trade recaps shortly after or in the coming days, whatever. I'll put them up on the channel like always. I have done a trade recap pretty much for every single trade since, I believe, August of 2023. And I plan to continue doing that through all of 2024. So this video is our monthly recap. So we're going to look back at the month of February, and we're going to take a peek into our data, our insights, what we did well, what we did not do well, all of that good stuff. So in front of me, you can see the total numbers. So I'll run across the top. I'll explain some more insight into each of these things because obviously you can read the numbers, but there's more of a story behind the numbers, I think, that I want to at least explain and talk about. And because I think it's useful insight. And then we'll get into the deeper dive of the data, which is my favorite part of these videos because we can see, beyond the surface. These numbers are cool, but there's more we can get into. So we had a total of 16 trades for the month of February. Some of them were day trades. Some of them were swing trades, a decent little mix. We had a total P&L of around $868.55. And we had an average trade expectancy of 73.58, meaning that on average, I can expect to make approximately $73.58 on a given trade that I place. However, that's not to be taken as, oh, just go trade as much as you want because if you're going to make that much money no, because we have criteria that we follow to get in. So when the criteria is met, we can expect on average to make that based off the sizing that I was utilizing in February. So that kind of, okay, is good. That's a good number, right? That looks pretty good to me. And 16 trades, not a lot to finish off the month. We kind of were more heavy early on, and as the month went on, things slowed down. A couple of reasons why, and we're going to get into the details of that in a second. But also, it's not that big of a deal. So this has all been on a prop firm account, and I have been trading through them in order to do this. Now, earlier this month, there were problems, I think mid-month, there are problems with MetaQuotes, their licenses, all these different prop firms and brokerage platforms, and all this stuff is a mess, right? If you are in tune with the prop firm space. So essentially they have to now move over to different platforms, and the whole space is kind of getting unraveled. The one that I'm with right now seems to be, from my experience so far, really good with providing information and trying to do the right thing. Whereas the one that I was with, I'm not going to name names, in the past, but you can go find that, seemingly tried to pull a fast one, and it was kind of like a little sketchy, a little scammy, but again, technically they didn't scam, right? I got my refund back, so it's fine. But it was kind of like, it wasn't, the communication wasn't there, the customer service wasn't there. The one that I'm with now seems to be pretty transparent about what's going on in the industry and all that stuff. That aside, whether the prop firm space completely unravels, whether it doesn't, I don't really care that much, but we're going to use the prop firm if we can, because I prefer that than having to tie up a lot more capital myself to trade. That's just personally my preference. So, and the one that I'm using is 100% payout, so I can't really go wrong with that. Profit factor of 2.53. We had, so essentially, right, that's a profitable strategy. If you're above 1, you're profitable. 50% win rate. Yes. Refer back. There's a video that I posted a while back, not a while, a couple weeks ago or so, and it was essentially saying that 80% win rate traders are bullshitting you. It's utter bullshit. It literally is, and I will continue, and I hope to continue to stay on here and prove to you that you can win half the time or less and actually make money in the long haul. That's the reality. I don't give a fuck if you have a 100% win rate this month, actually the past couple of weeks, guess what? I'm on a 100% win rate. Like, I could say that, sure. I could say I have an 80% win rate. I could if I pick a specific window, but again, run it out month, years, you're not going to have an 80% win rate. In theory, it's possible. Don't get me wrong. It's possible. However, with that, there's two sides. A 50% win rate allowed me to achieve a 2.53 average win-loss, which is awesome. My average winner was $243, and my average loser was $96.30. That's to me, that's awesome. You might see somebody else who says, "Oh, that's fucking, pussy numbers," or that's nothing. My average win-loss is a 6. Okay, cool. Maybe that's what your average win-loss is, but maybe your win rate's 25%, or maybe it's 30%, and maybe that works for you. It's all relative, but I will tell you that when you increase the win rate, there will likely, over a large sample size, be a hit to your average win-loss. You can't tell until you track and actually have large quantities of data. If you track for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, even a couple of months, it really isn't sufficient. I'm coming up on 1 full year of one strategy and tracking that strategy only. That is it. Okay, there's been a couple mini offshoots to the strategy, but hundreds of trades logged. And I will tell you that my numbers come out to be sub 50% win rate on average, but my average win-loss is high enough to where it is profitable. And this month was an example of a very, very nice month. Now, we only had 16 trades, but I don't care. That was great. I look at these numbers and I say to myself, when the time comes, when we scale the account up as time goes on, right? Great. If we keep numbers like this, is an amazing month because, you double the size, triple the size, 3x, 4x the size. And now you're talking about a couple $1,000 a month, right? So that's there. It's coming. I'm not in the rush to get there. Okay. I've never failed a prop firm account either. Which to some, that's like, people could just blow these accounts left and right. I have no intention of doing that. So that was the deal there. Now, let me pop myself off the screen for a second so you can see the full calendar at the bottom. We started off with some greens, some reds. This day was a negative 435. This was actually my biggest red day that I have had in like a year, roughly, in like 10 months. Why? Now, we had 2 trades here that were day trades. The other trades were swings. So it was a combination of losing 2 day trades, which lost me about a little over $200. And then the other trades were swings that I had entered the days prior, which happened to get closed out on that day. So it all kind of went to shit at the same time. But that was the deal. So whether you can look at that number and go, oh my God, your max loss wasn't like $300. And roughly speaking, yes, I don't want to lose more than $300. And if I lose $300 in a day on day trades, like I'm done. Like there's no reason to keep forcing things. However, this day we lost more than that because we closed out 2 swings that were initiated from days prior. But as you can see, that was this dip right here. So we had this, we started off a couple $100 up. We come down by the 8th and we're like, ah, shit, now we're red on the month. But that was then, quickly, reversed. So cool. March off to a decent start, but that's next month's video. So that's overall all of this. Now let's confirm that before we dive into it. Let's confirm this with the prop firm that I've been using. So they recently, we'll go to the dashboard in a second. They recently essentially reset the accounts because they had to move to a different broker. So from the initiation of the new broker, here is the trading data that I have. Okay. We have, so far I have not lost, but that's going to change at some point. We had a Bitcoin. This is really the same trade, a Bitcoin trade. We had a meta trade and we have a Dow, US 30. It's the Dow. That's currently open. Okay. So you guys, it's open right there. It's up a few bucks. I can refresh this and these numbers probably will change. 388 and 14, 13. Yeah, they changed a little bit. This is currently open. So either stop's going to get hit or take profit's going to get hit. Whatever comes first gets hit, takes me out. But if I jump back to the dashboard, you will see that right now we had a $25,000 account when I started this account back in January. The account is currently worth $26,203. There is only that Dow open position. Technically there's 2, but I just sized incorrect for the first one, so I had to add a second position. It's the same thing. That is essentially where we sit right now. We're past halfway to the first profit target. And so I'm not really in a rush here. You can kind of see the progression the past couple of days, but again, not really in a rush. This account was, I believe, at 25.6 before the transition, something like that. And then it transitioned, and then I made a few bucks on some of these trades. So that was the deal. And I've shown these. I've tried to show these. Sometimes I forget, but at least in these monthly videos and in the trade recaps along the way. So you can kind of see there were some fees that were, that come into things, that come into play. And there are commissions there were commissions with the last broker. There weren't on these trades. It just depends on the broker that we're using. So that's the deal. So that's that. So it's going along, I think, at a good pace. And like I said before, the plan is this. Once we're funded, they will refund me my deposit fee or my account fee. So you get that on your first payout. Cool. And then what my plan is to connect a trade copier. I've been testing one out. It seems to work well, but now with the different platforms, we'll see how it goes. We'll connect a trade copier to, I think, either a $50,000 or a $100,000 account, and I will just trade the 25K account. But now I'll have a trade copier that'll be 2xing or 4xing, depending on the size, the trades as well, and copying the exact trades. So that's the plan. That's the scaling plan later on. But again, we'll cross that bridge, when we get there. Hopefully when we get there. But again, I don't know when. I have no idea. We could have the next 3 months could be shit. I could do nothing, and we could be, waiting a while for that. But to me, there's no rush. There really isn't a rush. I used to feel, especially when I was traveling, I used to feel like, oh my God, I got to trade every day. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I don't care. I set alerts. If the alerts hit, cool. If I miss something, I didn't see it. Doesn't matter. There'll be something tomorrow or the next week or whatever. That's one thing I also want to mention too. So the 23rd through the 29th, I was away. I was in Arizona, so I did not actively trade. Although I did trade Bitcoin, which was the $300 and something $90 winner down here. The 20 plus 365, that was on Bitcoin, which is pretty cool. I should have a trade recap out on that specific trade, if not already. So pop us back in and let us get into the goods. So from here, this is on TradeZella. Again, I'll leave a link to TradeZella below like we always do. I go to the reports tab. We have our month selected. It was a leap year, so we got an extra little day in there. It's a bonus day, by the way. So a bonus day, can't complain, right? Some people maybe made some extra money this year because the bonus day. Okay, let's go through. Day of week, these numbers are a little bit off because, again, swings and day trades, just, something to take into account. These are better to be done with larger sample sizes. However, Mondays and Fridays are the days, seemingly. That's the deal. If I jump into trade duration, you can see that we had optimal day trades, at least. These are intraday trades. Lasted between 10 to 30 minutes, and that's where we made our most money. Everything else was losing or lost me money. If we go to the instrument, this is where we get a little more interesting. So our top 10 symbols, and this has been since the beginning of the year, I believe. I can check that in a second. Bitcoin, we had 2 trades, and Bitcoin made me approximately $769. So that's by far the best. The Dow was there as well, the Nasdaq, and then Meta, Microsoft. So that was the place to be. Biggest losers: Nike, LMT, CRM. These were all swing trades, so we lost on that. And guess what? These are not staple stocks. These are stocks that I started to kind of experiment a little bit with some trades, with some swing trades to see if, how my strategy would work. And so far what I'm finding is that the lists that I was already operating with are more than sufficient to trade off of. I don't need to necessarily expand my strategy to different stocks. I will try it. I will test it. But when I get data like this, unless I get a perfect A+, like the setup is beautiful, the volume is there, the breakout's there, the breakdown's there, if everything is there, sure, we'll take a shot. But if it's not perfect and it's like, I don't like this little wick or something, if there's something in the back of my head that says, I won't do it. I won't do it. Because again, the data tells me that it's not worth it. So this is good stuff to look at. Now, let me just jump back to that top 10 again really quick. I believe if you go to year to date, yeah, it's not even close. Bitcoin by far and away has made me over $1,200, which is by far and away the best ticker. So now, of course, Bitcoin's been the highest momentum symbol or asset, whatever you want to call it, in the market right now. So fair, makes sense. Bitcoin's over 60K. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. Let's go back to last month. So we're going through here. Let's see. Setups, mistakes, and we get down to the good stuff. The custom tags is where it's all. This is the juice. So if you know me and you know this from like last month's, I primarily trade breakouts and breakdowns. Now the market's been going up, so mostly breakouts. However, this month there was a couple bear flags we played in there because there was a period of time where things were a little bit weaker, and so there was some relative weakness there on some tickers, and so we played that. But what we can see that in an uptrending overall environment where the market's trending up, now of course in the moment we may have maybe seeing some weakness, and if the market were to reverse and maybe we're trending back down, eventually you'll catch a top and the bear flags and the breakdowns. When I say bear flag, breakdown setup. It's a horizontal breakout or horizontal breakdown. I call it a bear flag or bull flag just for purposes of that. Make it simple. That's it. Bull flags, we traded more of them. Makes sense. Market's been trending up. There's more opportunities. We probably see more of those. And they made the most money. Clear, far and away, not even close. And then failed breakout and failed breakdown. Not many of these trades. We took a couple of them and we actually made more money on a failed breakout on stocks or symbols in a larger downturn. There was actually one trade there than the failed breakdowns, which were lost 66 bucks. Yeah, okay. Any mistakes? Higher time frames not aligned. This was a trade on the S&P 500 from a while back, about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. I just reviewed this today. And this was, I think, from the 12th-ish time frame on February, or the 17th, something like that. I forget. But this was where I traded a bear flag on the S&P, but it was like the first or second day of a pullback, and we really just had, obviously looking back, the S&P has been just blasting higher, higher, higher. If I just jump over and look at the S&P's chart. I mean, here's the S&P. Here's the daily. By the way, we're breaking out with another flag here. So it's going for more. S&P keeps going higher, 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 trending. And I tried to go short. I believe it was in here. It was somewhere in here on one of these days. And we just didn't have enough confirmation behind it. Simple as that. It's 1 or 2 day down. We don't have enough confirmation to say we're in a downtrend yet. And so that was where I had higher time frames not aligned to the shorter time frame, even though it was a weak ticker on that day. So if I'm going to short, I got to be early to those bear flags, but it's still, data doesn't provide me good numbers to say that it's worth trading that, right? Because this trade was late. It was late in the day. We had, multiple breakdowns, and then it was like the third one, which chances of the third one breaking down again for bigger gains are substantially lower than the second and the first. So that was that. Now, custom tags. Here's where I'm tracking different time frames. So the only time frames I traded this month were 1 hour charts, 30-minute charts, 4 hour charts, 5-minute charts. 1 day charts, 30-minute charts, 4 hour charts, 5-minute charts. So on daily time frames, we actually made the most money. We made $683.96. We were green across every time frame, but of course, there's intricacies as we look back at the data. There's nooks and crannies to this stuff. We only had one trade based off the 30-minute and one trade based off the 4 hour chart. However, the 4 hour chart crushed it because that was the Bitcoin trade, I believe, at the end of the month off the 4 hour chart, which was a beauty for $385. And then the 5-minute chart, we did take 7 trades off the 5-minute chart, netting me only $100. So the better bang for my buck was not there. Better bang for my buck came off of the 4 hour chart for sure. And the 1 day chart, yeah, we had made the most money, but in terms of bang for your buck, it did take me 8 trades to make $683, where it only took me 1 trade to make $385 on the 4 hour. And that was Bitcoin. You can get nitpicky there if you wanted to, but so far that's what we have for this month. So all in all, back to that dashboard. I'm very happy with it. 868 roughly on the month. I'm happy with it. So far, we're starting off the month of March green. The first week of March, I will be trading very, very minimally, if anything. Actually, I don't think I will be trading because the only trade that I have is an open position on the Dow. That's it. So if the Dow either hits my take profit or hits my stop loss, that'll be the end of that trade, and that's it. And we had one trade on Meta that I opened back on the 22nd that I closed on the 1st of March today. That's done. So that is the February trading recap. This again is all on Trade Zealots where I track everything. And yeah, the prop firm that I'm using right now is one of one. I don't want to say like use them. If you want to, cool, do whatever you want to do. All that matters at the end of the day is you're tracking data and you're getting, you're actually using that to frame how you view the market, how you trade, and all that stuff, which is, I think, the most important part. So that is that. Great month, I think. And we'll see how March goes. Hope you guys have a great February, and have a great March. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.